Hi everyone, it is Achia here at Booking with Achia, and today we're getting into my Boot Camp Readathon 3.0 TBR. Huge shout out to Courtney at Tangible Reads for asking me if I wanted to be a co-host for this round. I'm going to put the link to her announcement video down below, as well as any pertinent information. But basically, the Bootcamp Readathon is all about reading, of course, but also like just daily physical movement and making sure that our bodies feel good and we're moving them. And it is inspired by the military, just the different aspects of military and boot camp and getting into gear. And my plan is to have options for the prompts, which I am going to go through because it is the start of the year and I am also kind of a structured mood reader. So this just helps me hit the prompts, but also not feel boxed in. You'll notice that the title of this video also says I'm giving recommendations. I am. Much like with the Reindeer Readathon, which I was also a co-host of in December, I am giving what I plan on reading, my hopefuls, alongside 3 to 5 book recommendations by BIPOC authors that fit the prompts that I think you should definitely check out to see, like, if you're still figuring out what your TBR is or how you want to do it, and you just like need some options, some suggestions. These are here for you. And before we get started, I do want to say to make sure to check out my bonfire and my Etsy shop if you want to get yourself some Booking with Atia Bibliophiles Unite exclusive merch. And bookmarks are in my Etsy shop, but also stickers are coming. Stickers are coming mid-January, and I am super hyped about it, and I cannot wait to launch that on my Etsy shop. I've been hinting at it for a few months now on reading sprints, so I'm glad that it's happening, and I'm glad the way that it's happening. So yeah, like I said, I'm going to give you my possibilities. I usually have like 1 to 3 possibilities for myself for each prompt. I think I kept it maybe to 2 each. I don't know. I'm going to give you the synopses of the books that are on my hopefuls list, and then I'm going to give you book recommendations, but I'm not going to read the synopses for the book recommendations. So starting with MEPS, which is the Military Entrance Processing Station, that prompt is to read a book that is self-discovery, psychological fiction, or nonfiction. I only have one possibility because I think this is just the perfect book to start the year off with, and it is How to Stop Feeling Like Shit by Andrea Owen. I was going to actually, it was listed in my Penguin Book storefront, and I was going through my listings in my Penguin Book storefront, which you should definitely check that out because I have so many books there that are in new, like new, or excellent condition, and you get them at a fraction of the price, and I ship them to you. They're actually behind me, some of them. And yeah, it's another way to support me as a independent content creator, but also support another reader and rehome some books. But I was going through those listings, and I was going through the books, I should say, and I saw this book and I just like flipped through it. I was like, this honestly is what I need right now, and I'm going to read it in January. And so the synopsis says, a cut through the crap guide to quitting the self-destructive habits that undermine happiness and success. How to Stop Feeling Like Shit is a straight-shooting self-improvement guide for women, one that offers frank advice about the most common self-destructive behaviors women engage in. Andrea Owen, a nationally sought-after life coach, crystallizes what's behind several invisible, undermining habits, from catastrophizing and people-pleasing to listening to the imposter complex or to one's inner critic. Powerfully on the mark, the chapters are short and digestible, nicely bypassing weighty examinations in favor of punch points of awareness. Her book kicks women's gears out of autopilot and empowers readers to create happier, more fulfilling lives. And honestly, I think a lot of us need that. My recommendations to you, however, for this prompt would be Hood Feminism by Mickey Kendall, The Mind Electric by Priya Anand, How I Know White People Are Crazy by Dr. Jonathan Lasseter. And those 3 are nonfiction. The one fiction book on here is James by Percival Everett, because I think that the theme of self-discovery is woven all throughout that book. And of course, I recommend all of those, and I gave all of those books, funny enough, 5 stars. The next prompt we have is Barracks, which is to read an indie published book, a book with military representation, or a book with blue or green on the cover. And I actually have 2 possibilities for this. The first one being Blood at the Root by Ladarion Williams. 10 years after his mother's mysterious disappearance awakened his uncontrollable powers, 17-year-old Malik has spent his life hiding his abilities while protecting his younger foster brother, Tay. Just as he's ready to leave his past behind, a risky attempt to save Tay exposes a shocking connection to his long-lost grandmother, a legendary conjurer tied to a secret magical school his mother once attended. That discovery leads Malik to Cayman University, where a future he never imagined begins to take shape. There, he reunites with his first love, Alexis, and starts uncovering the truth about his heritage and his mother's fate. But beneath the surface of the university lies a fractured magical community marked by feuding covens, political tension, and forbidden knowledge. As an ancient evil rooted in the Haitian Revolution resurfaces, Malik must claim his legacy to protect both the family he's lost and the one he's found. I've been excited about this book ever since it was announced a few years ago. I have it, I own it. The sequel recently came out earlier this year, and so it's about time. Well, I don't know when you're seeing this video. I don't know if you're seeing this video in December. Hopefully you are, or in January, we'll see. But it came out in late 2025, and I'm ready to read it. I've heard such good things about it. I love the cover. I love that it is not only a magical Black fantasy school, but the protagonist is a Black boy, and I feel like we don't see enough of that. And it's also written by a Black man, and so those two combined, I'm just like, I love the representation, and I need to put not just my money where my mouth is, because I didn't buy the book, but also put my time and my effort and my focus. And so I'm also just like really excited. I love anything that is fantasy, of course, but also magical Black schools is just everything that I love and enjoy. The second book is going to be Memorial by Brian Washington. Benson and Mike are a long-term couple in Houston who love each other but aren't quite sure why they're still together. Their routines, shared meals, sex, and familiarity mask deeper questions about what they actually want from their relationship. When Mike travels to Japan to see his dying estranged father, just as his sharp-tongued mother, Mitsuko, arrives in Texas, the couple is abruptly separated. In Osaka, Mike confronts his family history and begins to understand himself in a new way. Meanwhile, Benson and Mitsuko form an unexpected and meaningful bond while living together, pushing Benson to imagine a different future for himself. As both men grow and change apart, they must face whether those changes will bring them back together or pull them permanently apart. And my recommendations for this one is going to be Legendborn by Tracy Dion, as well as Palaver, also by Brian Washington, and those both have blue on the cover, and Palaver has both blue and green. But I'm also going to recommend Sister Samurai by Tatiana Obe, which is a indie published fantasy book that I absolutely love and adore. Next prompt up is Mess Hall, which is a horror, fantasy, or sci-fi. And for this one, I have, again, two recommendations. The first one being Iron Widow by Zirin J. Zhao. This is actually going to be a reread for me if I get to it, and I definitely want to because I want to read the sequel, Heavenly Tyrant. And I've been wanting to reread this because it has been so long between the two books. So we'll see which one I end up doing. But it says, in a futuristic Huaxia inspired by Chinese history, young men and women are paired to pilot giant mecha called chrysalises to defend against alien invaders, even though the mental strain often kills the girls. Eiichiro Zaishin volunteered as a concubine pilot with one goal: to kill the celebrated male pilot responsible for her sister's death. Instead, she does the unthinkable by surviving the psychic link and killing him, earning the feared title of Iron Widow. Her rare ability allows her to draw power by sacrificing male pilot, overturning the system designed to consume girls instead. To control her dangerous strength, Zaishin is partnered with Li Shimin, the most powerful and controversial pilot in Huaxia. As attempts on her life mount, Zaishin uses her growing power and notoriety to uncover the truth behind the misogynistic pilot system and fight to end the cycle of sacrifice. I gave this book 5 stars when I read the first time, and so I'm definitely looking forward to diving back into this world and rereading it and marking it up and annotating it and getting on to the sequel. The second possibility, and honestly, for this prompt, I'll probably read both in January. It's just a matter of which one I read first. The second book I have is Blood for the Undying Throne by Sung Il Kim, and this is actually the sequel to Blood of the Old Kings. So I'm actually going to give you the synopsis of book 1 so you don't get any spoilers. In an empire powered by the corpses of dead sorcerers, conquest is justified as peace, even as many recognize it as a brutal lie. 3 strangers begin separate journeys that slowly move them toward rebellion against their oppressive system. Lauren, driven by grief and revenge after her family is slaughtered, seeks out an ancient dragon and emerges with a blade forged from its fangs and a new sense of purpose. Kane, an orphan raised by kindness in the imperial capital, is pushed into action when his mentor is murdered, forcing him to pursue the truth no matter the cost. Ariane, born a sorcerer and destined to become fuel for the Empire after death, begins hearing the voice of a powerful necromancer that makes her question her fate. As their paths unfold, each small act of defiance carries the potential to expose the truth and bring the Empire crashing down. My recommendation for the prompt of Mess Hall is going to be Those Beyond the Wall by Micaiah Johnson, which is a futuristic desert sci-fi dystopian. An Unlikely Coven by A.M. Kivita, which is an urban fantasy with witches and vampires and different magical creatures set in New York. Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston, which is a middle grade fantasy with a secret supernatural investigative school. Think like Men in Black meets fantasy, or like fantasy school. Then there's Chain Gang All-Stars by Nana Kwame Adjei-Brener, which is a dystopian sci-fi where imprisoned people are put into fights, Coliseum style. And then there's The Mimicking of Known Successes by Malka Older, which is a Sherlock Holmes-esque futuristic sci-fi mystery series, well, the start of a sci-fi mystery series set on Jupiter that follows two protagonists, and it is sapphic as they all are both women, and I highly recommend that series. I think we're in book like 3 or something, and 4 has been confirmed. The next prompt is Shooting Range, which is to read a host favorite, and I have 2 possibilities for this one. The first one being The Weight of Blood by Tiffany D. Jackson, which I actually paused a couple years ago. I was like 40% in, and I always meant to come back to it, so I think it's time. And it says, in a small Georgia town, Madison, Washington is a social outcast who has spent her life passing as white under the strict control of her racist father. When a southern rainstorm exposes her biracial identity, Maddie becomes the center of cruel bullying and renewed scrutiny. After a viral video reveals the school's racist past, Springville High attempts damage control by hosting its first integrated prom. Maddie is suddenly pushed into the spotlight when the Black star quarterback is encouraged to take her as his date, offering her a glimpse at a life she's never been allowed to have. But resentment and hatred still simmer among her classmates, even as prom night approaches. When tragedy strikes, everyone claims Maddie is responsible, without knowing the dangerous secret she's been hiding all along. Then the second book I have as a possibility is Indigo by Beverly Jenkins, which is a historical romance. Hester Wyatt escaped slavery as a child and now risks her life as a conductor on Michigan's Underground Railroad, helping others find the freedom she cherishes. When she agrees to hide an injured fugitive, she learns he's Galen Vachon, known as the Black Daniel, a highly wanted and influential figure in the resistance against slavery. Though she's committed to protecting him, Hester is put off by his arrogance and sharp manners. As Galen recovers under her care, he reveals his own sacrifices, having abandoned a life of wealth in New Orleans to fight for freedom. Despite the danger of slave catchers and betrayal closing in around them, a powerful connection grows between the two. Together, they must survive the threats against them, while discovering whether love can offer a freedom all its own. And my recommendations are, of course, my own picks because I am a host. So my host favorites are Sky Full of Elephants by Sibo Campbell and The Street by Ann Petrie. Sky Full of Elephants is like a utopian kind of situation where all the white people in America walk into the nearest body of water and you're left with all the other peoples of America trying to figure out, specifically Black people, what it means to be Black in a world where there is no whiteness and no white supremacy. And then The Street is a Black classic about a woman who's trying to carve out a life for her and her young son. I would also recommend some other of the host favorites, specifically Confessions of an Alleged Good Girl by Joy Goffney, which is a YA contemporary, Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby, which is a dark crime thriller about 2 men, a Black man and a white man, whose sons were killed and they were married, and so they are trying to find out who killed their sons. And then The Bandit Queens by Parini Shroff, which follows a group of women in India who one of them is known as being like a husband killer, and these women are trying to essentially save themselves in a sexist and misogynistic society. Then we have the last prompt, which is, I don't know if you say all the letters or not, but it's BIVOUAC, and it basically the temporary encampment. And this prompt is to read a comedy, something cozy, or an erotica, and I went with the theme of like something cozy. And I have 2 possibilities here. The first one being The Curious Kitten at the Chibaneko Kitchen by Yuta Takahashi. In a quiet seaside town near Tokyo, Kotoko follows rumors of a mysterious restaurant set to reunite diners with lost loved ones through soul-nourishing meals. Drawn along a seashell path, She's led to the Chibaneko kitchen after a chance encounter with Kai, the restaurant's young chef, who resembles her recently deceased brother. Inside, she's welcomed by Kai and the resident kitten, Chibi, and served a traditional remembrance meal identical to the one her brother once made for her. As Kotoko eats, the world around her shifts. Sounds fade, the air thickens, and the time itself seems to bend. What follows is a quiet, magical journey that offers her the chance to reconnect with the past. Through food, memory, and tenderness, Kotoko is guided toward healing, closure, and the possibility of new beginning. Then the second book I have as possibility is Crime Rangoon by Vivian Tien, a cozy mystery series. I forget what number we are in the Noodle Shop mystery series, but it says Lana Lee is thrilled when her favorite mystery author comes to Asia Village for a book signing, especially after she's asked to act as the writer's handler for the event. The signing is a huge success until the author is found dead in the mystery aisle, clutching a copy of her own novel. Even more unsettling, the details of the murder mirror the plot of the best-selling book. Lana's boyfriend, Detective Adam Trudeau, is assigned to the case and quickly realizes the investigation is far from straightforward. For the first time, he asks Lana to officially help him solve a crime. Together, they must follow the clues hidden in the novel to uncover the killer before the story reaches its deadly final chapter. And I would recommend actually the first book in this series, which is Death by Dumpling by Vivian Chien, as well as Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers by Jesse Q. Satanto, and Mimi Lee Gets a Clue by Jennifer J. Chow, Mongo, Mambo, and Murder by Raquel V. Reyes, and A Deadly Inside Scoop by Abby Collette. Those are all cozy mysteries that I love and adore, and that is it. That is my hopefuls TBR list for Bootcamp Readathon 3.0, as well as quite a few BIPOC authored recommendations for you for the prompts. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Comment down below if you are participating in Bootcamp Readathon 3.0. Do we have any books in common on our TBR? Do you see any recommendations that you're going to add to your TBR? Make sure once again to check out my Etsy shop and follow it so you're notified when I launch these stickers, as well as my bonfire for some merch. If you want to support the channel on a monthly basis, you can consider becoming a channel member or a Patreon member. All of my socials are linked down below, as well as the Discord Bibliophiles Unite, where we will be buddy reading My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones during the month of January. So if you want to join us, make sure to check out the Discord. If you're interested in subscribing to an audiobook service that supports independent bookstores, make sure to check out my link for Libro FM. It is an affiliate link. If you sign up using the link, you get a free audiobook, I get a free audiobook, and we're supporting independent bookstores, which is always awesome. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in another video. Bye!
Showing. I ain't living for the moment. I see what's mine and I want it. Hungry like a Pac-Man. I'm Bruce Wayne and Batman. I'm Naruto with a Hanzo. Got a sharp mind like I'm Einstein. Poking copywriting, so it's all mine. Check it for me.